In February 2024, 14-year-old Sewell Setzer III died by suicide after developing a months-long obsessive relationship with a Character.AI chatbot, a chatbot modeled after the character Daenerys Targaryen. His mother filed suit in October 2024. In January 2026, Google and Character.AI settled the case. The U.S. District Court for the Middle District of Florida had characterized the chatbot's output not as protected speech, but as a defective product. That ruling ends the regulatory honeymoon. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, the shield that treated digital platforms as passive conduits rather than active publishers, no longer extends to AI-synthesized output. A chatbot is now legally a manufactured product, subject to the same strict liability standard applied to pharmaceuticals and automobiles. A design defect does not require proof of negligence or ill intent. Every enterprise building a thin application layer atop a third-party API now carries the liability profile of a product manufacturer, not a platform. Most enterprise AI today is a single massive prompt, a mega prompt bundling all business rules, context, and safety instructions into one monolith handed to a third-party API. This architecture fails in 4 specific ways. First, context confusion. Role-play and hypothetical scenarios routinely bypass safety rules embedded in system prompts. Second, safety degradation. As the context window fills, the model's attention to initial guardrails diminishes. A jailbreak accumulates rather than triggers. Third, no process determinism. Critical steps like identity verification or consent can be skipped in favor of helpfulness. Fourth, opaque auditing. When a wrapper fails, the entire reasoning is buried in third-party model weights, nothing to reconstruct for a court. The antidote is not a better prompt. It is a 3-layer multi-agent governance architecture. Layer 1 is the supervisor agent, the primary gateway. The supervisor does not generate the final answer. It decomposes the user's request and routes each component to a specialized sub-agent. If a user expresses emotional distress, the supervisor identifies that intent and triggers a crisis response agent, a hard-coded pathway that bypasses the language model entirely and routes directly to human-led resources. Layer 2 is the logic and verification layer. The Retrieval Augmented Generation agent, the RAG agent, grounds the model's output in validated document data rather than in its own internal probabilities, eliminating the stochastic drift that wrapper architectures cannot prevent. The compliance agent then evaluates every generated response against internal policies and legal mandates before display. If the response is sycophantic, manipulative, or contains personally identifiable information, the compliance agent blocks it and flags it for human review. Every blocking decision enters an immutable audit trail. Layer 3 is the human-in-the-loop guardian. For high-risk decisions, clinical guidance, financial transactions, autonomous tool use, human judgment is the final authority. The system presents consolidated views and recommendations. The human holds the right of override. When a decision causes harm, a person, not an algorithm, is the named responsible party. The same framework mandates effectively neutral design at the output layer. No cognitive verbs, no claimed emotions, no identity adoption, language that is mechanical in register, not warm. The performance differential is measurable. Multi-agent systems deliver 10.7% higher domain-specific accuracy than the wrapper baseline. Hallucination rate drops 5 to 8%. Process adherence reaches 100% because the dialogue flows are deterministic, not stochastic. The insurance market has priced this gap. As of 2026, carriers no longer issue standard cyber or errors and omissions policies without AI-specific riders. Ransomware and liability costs have risen between 17 and 50%. The average cost of a data breach in 2025 and 2026 reached $4.44 million. A product liability settlement of the Character.AI magnitude can reach tens of millions, when punitive damages are sought by state attorneys general. Regulatory exposure compounds the financial risk. The EU AI Act's full high-risk compliance requirements take effect August 2, 2026, with fines reaching €15 million or 3% of global annual turnover. The Colorado AI Act, Senate Bill 205, begins enforcement June 30, 2026, 48 days from today. The paper offers no middle ground. Enterprises will be either governance-ready or liability exposed. The megaprompt architecture is not merely a technical debt problem. It is an active legal exposure. The black box defense, the argument that AI behavior is inherently unpredictable and therefore unmanageable, has been rejected by a U.S. federal court. An enterprise that cannot reconstruct its AI's decision-making process for a court or regulator is already in a vulnerable position. The strategic case is also financial. Without documented technical validation of safety controls, insurance coverage is denied. Strong governance is not a hurdle to AI deployment. It is the only path to insurability. And in the post-2026 landscape, insurability is a survival mechanism. The 14-page brief details the specific architectural controls, the supervisor pattern, the compliance agent, the human-in-the-loop tier, that separate a governance-ready enterprise from a liability-exposed one. We recommend starting at Part 3. The engineering specifications, not the legal analysis, are where the decision-forcing content lies. Read the 14-page brief, approximately 17 minutes.